Hello and welcome along to the Rangers Rabble. Oh, Jamie, that made me laugh. Thank you so much. Europa League reaction, Sparta Prague 1, Rangers 0. Hello, I'm Martin. Welcome along. I'm joined by Jamie, Graham and Scott Kerr. I'm not doing any of the like, subscribe, advertising stuff tonight. Before we come to the game, I'm going to jump straight into Jamie. Probably the biggest talking point. I've already had one person on Twitter tell me that all Rangers are just bad losers. After we played the other racist mob, I got so much abuse. In the comments, I get horrible messages sent to me. But Jamie, I'm not going to shy away from it. We're going to talk about it. The treatment tonight of Glenn Kamara, when they already had a stadium ban, but we'll let young kids in, we'll let underprivileged kids in. What an absolute disgrace they were tonight.
Well said, mate. You've nailed it. I was writing the article for tonight, and I couldn't actually bring myself to write it because I was trying to write it during the game and stuff. I'm so fucking angry, man. I don't listen. Straight up, fair and square. They beat us 1-0 the night we played. All right in patches. Forget about that. This isn't sour grapes. This is an embarrassment for UEFA. An absolute embarrassment to allow 10,000 children in who booed a black guy who was racially abused by someone from their rival team. They booed him every time he touched the ball tonight. Kids, they're saying it was. I think it was a joke. And the second yellow card, forget about the booing and stuff like that. The second yellow card's a fucking joke as well. One, the player's a joke. The referee's a joke. Did we not have VAR tonight? We did have VAR tonight. Why is he not just going to look at that? Mate, that's not a yellow. That's not a second yellow. It's a brush of the finger. Move on. Absolute embarrassment, Martin. I'm raging about it. This isn't sour grapes. It's disgusting.
Wolf, how are you? Is your audio all sorted?
I've dragged the phone out, so yeah, I think so. I don't know what's happening with the laptop. The audio is just two microphones, just not working. So just a great end to a terrific night.
Yes, we'll speak to you for 5 minutes before your stream cuts off. Your thoughts tonight, Wolf? We're going to go into the game in a minute, but the fans booing Glenn Kamara, are we overreacting? I don't think we are.
No, absolutely disgusting. I mean, they shouldn't have been in there for a start because a stadium ban's a stadium ban, particularly if it's for something like racism. You know, and I mean, it tells you a lot about the culture in the Czech Republic because those boos were too loud for it not to be from the kids. I mean, there was some adults in there supervising them, but there's no way it was only coming from the adults because it was too loud. I mean, for the commentators in the first half to not even mention it. You know, it took Darryl Curry at half-time to mention it on the telly before the commentary team mentioned it a bit in the second half. But it's absolutely disgusting. It's, I mean, we were beat fair and square. We weren't good enough tonight. Simple as that. It's not sour grapes at all. We didn't make chances. We were lucky not to get an absolute scud because I mean that boy scores at the second minute of the second half and we're on an absolute high. The boy that hit the bar with the goal. But the racism, there's absolutely no excuse for it. But UEFA deserve that to happen because they shouldn't have let anybody in there in the first place. Simple as that. The only reason I'm sitting in my house tonight is because they said, right, it's closed doors. Otherwise, I'd have gone over. Even if they said home fans only, I'd have gone over and taken the chance. You know what I mean? But for them to decide last week, you can let 10,000 kids in. And then that's happened. UEFA actually deserve that happening tonight. Glenn Kamara doesn't deserve it. Rangers players don't deserve what came out of those stands tonight. But UEFA deserve it for making the stupid decision that they did to let fans in after saying, no, you're all banned.
Yeah, I don't know how much more we can add to that, Kerr. But yeah, when is a stadium ban, not a stadium ban?
It's a joke, Martin. It's a joke. It's no funny. It's one of the things. I mean, this is even a football thing, it's a society thing, and places like this get away with it every day. They get away with it all the time in sport. They get away with it all the time doing other air events. They get away with it, and it's not just that club; it's other club in the city as well. And it's a constant theme from both sides. So it is, and stadium ban means nobody there, but they let kids in now. These kids are young. You saw some in the stadium were very young. So someone don't even know who Glenn Kamara is, but they're booing. So they boo him because he's a Rangers player, or they boo him because of the colour he's skin. And I'd probably say it's the second one. And it's an absolute joke. And I don't think the referee help matters, because I thought the first red card was a joke. I thought he was very, very quick to give him a second yellow, which wasn't a foul in the first place, just to get him off the part. I don't know. It was too much a coincidence for me. The booing, the sending off, everything was just too much a coincidence. But if UEFA don't punish this mob more, then basically you might as well just say they can do what they want, because the other thing on today, a boy get to jail for racial abusing I think it was a Stoke City player, which is the right way to go. You can't racial abuse somebody for no reason. So I don't agree with anything. I mean, if you say something, it's because somebody's colour, somebody's skin, because of religion, because anything. It's not way you be treated. You treat somebody with respect. But to go down the road of 10,000 kids, I mean, kids, I don't know, you don't know where they go. But UEFA's got to have a strong, hard look at themselves, and so did the Czech Republic in a whole, because that just puts me off ever getting back there.
100%, Graham. I'll never go to the Czech Republic, and if there's any Sparta Prague or anybody for the Czech Republic watching this, then you know, take a long hard look in the mirror, because you should absolutely be ashamed. It's an absolute disgrace. Right, okay, let's move on to that and talk about the game, because we don't if Rangers don't play well and we don't deserve to win, then we're beaten by the better team, then look, regardless of what's happened in the stands or what surrounds the game, we'll stand up and say, look, we didn't deserve to win. Graham, the starting lineup, I think Steven Gerrard loves a surprise. He loves to keep us guessing. Bacuna in from the start, Morelos on the bench. I was shocked.
I was shocked myself, mate, when I seen the starting lineup come through an hour before kick-off. I thought he would have, with Lundstrom being one of the better players, if not the best player in the park on Sunday. That's strange leaving him out altogether. It should have been him, Davis and Kamara in the midfield. But it's just strange. It's chop and changing, needless ones. Fair enough if it's injuries, COVID or suspensions, but it's just constantly every week. Centre halves, goalkeeper, it's midfield three, Hadji on the midfield three, outright, Aribo midfield three, outright. It's just something needs to get some togetherness and keep as much a squad starting 11 together for 3 or 4 or 5 games to see if we can get some form back, and hopefully that can kick us on.
Yeah, no, I mean, Jamie, we knew that there was going to have to be changes at the back. Steven Gerrard came out before the game and said the reason that Connor Goldson wasn't there was because he got a late knock in training. They weren't going to risk him, obviously, with the game on Sunday. So I think we all knew it was going to be Bassey Balling with Tav and Borna. The big question was obviously that midfield three. I think we all just assumed that Morelos would play. But the big question was that midfield three. And I don't think you could have went Lundstrom, Davis and Kamara, but I certainly wasn't expecting Bacuna.
No, I wouldn't have went Lundstrom, Davis, Kamara either, to be honest, just because of the fear after Malmo, but I probably expected a Hadji, Kamara and Davis in there with Aribo up top with Ruf Morelos. So Bacuna was a weird one, and there's a couple of wee flashes. I think we've got a player in our hands there, but is he had to go off with an injury? Is that just unlucky, or was he not ready to play? Which I'm not too keen on. I think there's Martin, I don't know. I think there's a lot more to be. I think the defence again tonight, another game where we look shaky.
Well, look, I mean, if Gerrard comes out and says, look, because Gerrard did actually say, look, Bacuna's ready. So obviously he was. I don't know if it was maybe just something that happened in the game. But, well, are we being a wee bit hypocritical because there's been so many people shouting for the likes of Bacuna to get a start, Sakala to get a start? So would we be a bit hypocritical if we complained about the fact that Lundstrom wasn't on the field, Morelos wasn't on the field? Would that be hypocritical?
I don't think so. I mean, the whole time he's been here, Steven Gerrard said that if you've got the jersey and you're playing well, you'll keep it. That's the way it is. That's the way it should be. John Lundstrom's come on to a game in the last couple of games, but there's him dropped, put on the bench for whatever reason. But I mean, the whole the whole Connor Goldson thing I'm a bit mystified by, because they said he picked up a slight knock in training. And surely if a guy is pivotal to us as Connor Goldson picks up a knock in training, he at least travels, gives you an extra day to work on him and say, right, okay, last minute, right, okay, you're not fit, you can't play. I get they left him at home to get treatment for Sunday, but all our top guys are over in Prague. So surely you want them to be giving them treatment and give them a chance of playing the game. Particularly when you're light at the back. I mean, even looking at the bench, if one of the centre backs get injured, we were in the shit because there was nobody there really to replace him. You know what I mean? Leon King wasn't even on the bench. I don't know if he's injured or why he wasn't there.
I think he is injured. I think.
The whole thing mystifies me. The whole thing's strange.
Is it not maybe just a case though, Kerr, that look, if Goldson has picked up this niggle, and look, I've no reason to distrust Gerrard or not believe something that Gerrard says to us, but in this COVID world that we're living in, that there's no point in risking taking somebody if they have got a knock and you know you're not going to play them.
I think there is. I think you look at our team, Goldson is probably the most important player we have back there, and he's essential to what we're doing, but he's not had this season running either. None of the players have. But if he is injured, I'd rather keep him for Sunday, be honest with you, and keep him tonight. To be honest with Europe, to me, he's finished. I'm not interested in Europe. But we're not going to go through in Europe anyway. This team's not playing well enough. I just think at this moment in time, Gerrard sees the players for last season, this season, totally different. He sees them maybe not playing as well. Some's maybe regressed. He's not getting out of them what he wants. And maybe that's the reason he's changing his team so much, to try and get a quick fix. And he's not getting a quick fix because it doesn't matter who he's putting in. We're playing exactly the same way. And like Will said, when John Lundstrom came in the last couple of games, he's actually done okay after being written off by a lot of people. So if he's doing okay and he's starting to play well, you keep him in there. I mean, Stephen Davis looks totally gassed to me. He looks like he needs a rest. Kamara tonight was okay, but there's not a lot of this team. Last season, you could pick 5, 6, 7 players every game who were playing really well. This season, you're struggling to pick one player every game who's playing well.
Aye, do you know that's probably fair. I mean, I'm one of these ones. I'm an old romantic. I'm not finished with Europe until it's mathematically possible that we're no longer in the competition. But Graham, the start of the game, I would say for the first, 10, 15 minutes, it was actually quite a decent game. We were attacking, they were attacking. They had a chance. Fantastic save for McGregor, by the way. We had a chance for a corner. Balogun probably should do better. So, I mean, I would say up until their goal, we looked okay.
I'd agree, mate. The first 5 minutes, I was looking forward to the rest of the game if we kept that up. But it's just, I think, I've said it before, the first pre-season game, we've just looked dead lacklustre and no ideas going forward. And fitness issues, we seem to can't press for 90 minutes. The same pressing traps that we used to do last season, the patterns are playing, stuff like that. There's no identity to what we were last year, which is strange. And you can't put those, you could say 10 reasons, but you don't know what one it is that actually is. It's a problem. And is it just team selections? Is it something happened behind the scenes that we don't know? Is it? It's hard to put your finger on that is actually the problem, but it's something you need a spark for somewhere to get some form back.
Obviously, this is going to be quite a negative show. So, me and Jamie discussed this earlier. We were talking about all the recent podcasts, and we're saying, have we been too negative? Blah blah blah. But look, what's happened has happened. Their goal, Jamie. I don't want to pick on Bassey. That's why I didn't take this question to care. I mean, for a big boy, Bassey, a big lumpy boy, he's quick, he's got loads of good attributes. Just God never gave him the talent to head a ball, did he?
Well, I don't understand. There was a wee passage I played after 5 minutes where we made an arse or something, and the ball was just like up in the air, and he went up and missed it. And I was like, what the fuck? Because he's got all the attributes, the physical attributes, and then when that ball's whipped in up twice within a minute, he wasn't aggressive enough, and he wasn't aggressive enough to head the ball when they scored. And then a minute later, he wasn't aggressive enough. I think it was Sakala puts a ball into the box, and he finds himself in the box for some reason. And if he's aggressive enough there, he wins that header. And I like him. I really like him. I think he was kind of through in the night. I think Gerrard's got a lot of questions. Well, he's got one question. It's not a lot. Why he took Simpson out? Because the inevitables happened. the inevitable being, oh, we'll play Bassey, don't worry, because that will never happen. Well, fuck, it has happened. And Bassey's not a centre-half yet. I think he might be in years to come. He's a good marauding left-back right now, but not aggressive enough in the air. I don't know what that's all about.
Just before I go to you, Wolf, while we're 15 minutes in, can I just now do a wee bit of advertising, if you don't mind, guys? We are live on YouTube and Twitter. So if you're watching on YouTube, please do subscribe. I think we're about 80 away from 3K, as Jamie's having a conversation with somebody in the background. We're about 80 away from 3K. And if you're watching on Twitter, then please do give us a like and a retweet. And if you want to help support the podcast as we aim to become a bigger voice in Rangers fan media, you can join us on Patreon. Link is in the description. It's patreon.com/Rangers Rabble. Well, the goal that we conceded again from a set piece, poor defending, and then after the goal, we just never really get back into the game, did we?
No, it's poor defending. I mean, as Jamie says, I don't know, Calvin Bassey. I like the big lad. Still got a lot to learn. He probably was thrown in tonight. But I mean, they've all been trotting out there. Well, he played centre half for Leicester under 23s. There's a big difference between playing for Leicester under 23s and playing a European game in Prague. It's a massive, massive difference in there. I mean, his timing when he jumps is awful. Really, really poor. But my biggest gripe with the goal is, why the fuck was there not a man on the post? I know McCoy's went on about it on the telly, but I mean, you look the last couple of seasons, Stephen Davis's job when we got a corner, the back post. Every single corner we conceded. This season, there's been nobody on the post at all. And that's not the first goal we've conceded because there was nobody on the back stick. It's basic. I don't know why we've changed. I don't know why we've changed the way we play. I don't know why we've changed the way we defend. I mean, that doesn't excuse Bassey losing the header in the air. But, I mean, that was two mistakes. Basically, Bassey shouldn't have been out jumped and there should have been a man on the post. I mean, it's simple. It's a really, really poor goal to lose. Because, okay, we were well beat tonight. We could, as I said earlier, we could have been absolutely scudded. But I don't think they're that great a side. I really don't.
They're not that great a side, but when you say not that great a side, I mean, Kerr, they looked better than us. I'm not going to lie, they looked a better team than us.
I wouldn't have been hard, Martin. I think Rangers could have played many team tonight, and would they get lost? Rangers weren't in the game. There were a couple of boys that were trying, but we weren't in the game. There was no press for about 5-10 minutes. The pressing games went for last season. The intensity and the tempos went for last season. We're waiting for things to happen and actually trying to make things happen. There's no cohesion between the midfield to the forward line. Last season, we were scoring goals for fun in league games. We were scoring goals away for games in Europe. That's how we went in such a long run. This season, it's like we're scared. We've lost. We're giving teams more respect. I don't know what it is, but there's no cohesion in that team. The players, it's like the players have just met each other. Like I said earlier, some of the players have regressed. And I think some of the players have actually hit their peak for last season. And maybe I should have went in the summer and we should have more recruitment. Maybe hungrier players coming in. As for Bassey, you know I'm not his biggest fan. And personally, I don't think he's ever going to be good enough to play in the Rangers first team. That's just my opinion. Jack Simpson's the same. Leon King would have done a better job tonight, or Kyle McClelland. I know they're playing under 18 football, but they read the game well and their positional sense is very good, whereas Bassey and Simpson's all over the shop. They've not got a clue. And for Bassey being a big boy, I mean, he's built like a side of a shop, but he's timid. He is very timid. He's scared to hurt somebody, and it's like, just go through them because you're a big lad, but he's very, very timid. I don't see where we're going to improve. Something's going to have to happen dramatically. But tonight, Martin, we could have played. I'm scared for Sunday. I mean, playing Hibs, but we could have played anybody the other night in Europe and they get beat because we weren't at it for the start.
I know, and look, everybody, I'll get to all your comments, I promise. So please keep your comments coming in. The more comments that you put in, the longer I can keep these guys on the pod and clearly keep Jamie away from his wife, who I think must be giving him a lot of abuse anyway.
The wife isn't in, that's the problem.
Oh, he's got the kids. There you go. Graham, look, a comment for Darren Stewart. Gerrard's been a bit prickly when asked about performances. Injuries, illness, suspensions all happen. The drop-off in levels is more than that, and it's rightly being questioned. Do you go along with that?
I go along with that, mate. Because as I said earlier, these performances, if you look at the very first pre-season match, it's the exact same. It's the partner play that for last year's gone. It goes out to Bonabarisic, he cuts back, gives it back to Kamara, back to Davis, back just across. Whereas we were finding like Hadji in the middle, Aribo was breaking the third, Davis was playing brave passes and stuff like that. Tav was playing balls into the half space and down the line. There's no runners at all. It's just totally different. They're getting coached different. They've been told to play different. There's no one reason that we can put a finger on why it's changed, because the majority is the same team from last year. So it's not as if they need to get used to playing with each other. So it's hard to explain, and it's worrying. It's been going on. It's a large period of time now.
I tell you what, I'll come to the fifth smartest person on the podcast tonight, Jamie. My worry is that whatever starting team or midfield combination Gerrard chooses, we just seem flat and void of creativity. If we concede first on Sunday, we are in trouble. Now, Jamie, obviously, because we lost 1-0, we conceded first tonight, and it just seemed to totally throw our game plan, if you can really say we had a game plan, out the window. Simple question, why?
I think Graham's nailing it there when he's talking about we just don't look the same. We don't look the same as last season. Players aren't doing things they were doing last season, and I don't know why, because they should be brimming with confidence. They should be swaggering onto the park and doing better than they've done, like, because they're the champions. But is that the problem? Are they thinking, well, I can do what I want now, I'll get a move? Well, you'll not get a move if that's what you're thinking, playing like this. You'll be in the Championship in England playing and Luton. You know what I mean? That's what ended up happening to a lot of these players. So we started so well as well, but I'm not going to say I'm not. Again, I'll say it. Sunday could be the catalyst. I've been saying that for 8 weeks, man. Sunday's going to be the catalyst.
Sunday's going to be the catalyst, Wilf. But Wilf, I'll tell you one thing that did really annoy me tonight, apart from all the racists inside the stadium. I don't know how many times it is now. Is it 3, 4, 5? We start a second half and immediately give the opposition not just a chance. No, I'm not talking about just giving them a chance, giving them a sitter. And that's, I can remember at least 3 or 4 off the top of my head. And as soon as, in fact, do you know how quick it was after as soon as the second half started? The camera didn't even pick up how we managed to give them the ball.
No, don't get me started on the camera, because I don't know what that Czech director was doing tonight, but he was more interested in showing replays and people in the crowd. You couldn't. I mean, I'm not used to watching the game on the telly even after a year of doing it, and the camera work tonight was absolutely shocking. But that chance, when they showed it again and I actually saw what happened, I've no idea how the guy missed. Absolutely no idea how he missed, and it was so easy. They just strolled through the defence. They did it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, even Dundee on Saturday, I know it was the start of the game, not the start of the second half. The start of the game on Saturday, from kick-off, Dundee just walks through our defence.
Yeah.
It just seems to be, when opposite teams kick off, we just seem to switch off, and I don't know why. I mean, Malmo's a case in point, but we're doing okay at Malmo, and then 5 minutes into the second half, we're 2 goals down. It's just, I don't know, it's just poor. I don't know whether it's concentration or what it is, I mean, games like tonight, I think Jamie's maybe nailed it. They think they're other champions. They can breeze it in Scotland, because they're not really up against much, because we all expect Hearts and Hibs to fall away. That other lot are an absolute riot. And when you're just drifting through games in Scotland, you can't raise your levels when you play this. Same thing happened in the mid-90s when we did 9 in a row under Walter Smith and couldn't kick their own arse in Europe, because the middle years of 9 in a row were so easy.
Mm-hmm.
Really, domestically we could do what we like. We could lose the odd game here or there. We knew we would win, but then when you step up a level in Europe, you just get battered all over the place. And it looks to me that's what's happening again.
I know it is. It's really frustrating, Graham, because I don't understand how a team can drop off. Yeah, look, we were always going to lose a game in the league. Of course we were. We were never going to win every single game in Europe in the group stage. That was never going to happen. Of course, results were going to go against us. But the drop-off is just huge. And I have to caveat it, and I know that you won't like this, but look, we had no Ryan Kent tonight. Morelos hasn't been at his absolute best. We had no Goldson and no Hollander either. I have to caveat it with that, right? But it's not great, Graham.
It's not great, and it's very similar to what happened to Liverpool last year, which it's so similar. It was actually happened to them. They won the league, partied, loved it, and then we won the league, partied, keep going on about 55 in that. And as Jamie says, is it that we think, oh, we're champions, we've done our job, and then we'll just take the money and stuff like that now? But it's I'm hoping Jamie's right that Sunday's a catalyst, because we need something. We need a performance, and a good performance, and a 2-0 win. That'll do me on Sunday, and hopefully we get back to some sort of form.
I know, and I'm seeing loads of comments about the scoring the other lots game. That's of
No interest.
I don't care.
care.
That
Irrelevant.
normally, had we won the night and they were getting pumped, which they are, I would be happy. I'd be jovial. I'd be ripping the piss out of it. But honestly, the night, don't care. Robert Robertson, that's brilliant. Nobody escapes criticism tonight, even the coaching staff. Kerr, is there anything that obviously Gerrard's made his mind up about his starting 11, but as the game progresses, was there anything he could have done differently tonight that he didn't do for you, or was it just a case of we had to deal with the injuries that we had, the team just wasn't good enough on the night?
We weren't good enough on the night. I don't think we deserved anything from the game, to be honest with you. We were really poor. But over the coming weeks, games, they're going to have to go back to basics. They're going to have to treat the players like they're just coming in the door. They're going to have to get them down, kind of nurture some of them again, maybe give them some a kick up the arse, some a cuddle. He's going to have to do something with some of them. But I think he's also going to have to maybe change the system slightly, because teams know what we do. And if we can't succeed in what we're doing, we drop back, and we're missing players, Martin, but we still get international players on the bench, we got international players in the park, we've still got good enough players to win games or been competing in games, but that's all away. The teams actually went stale and for last season. And like I said earlier, I don't know, do some players reach their pinnacle, we won in 55 and thought, that's it? Or did as a hunger went? You don't really know, but the management team and his staff, that's what they're paid for. They've got to try and reignite these guys and say, listen, there's a season here, there's still things to win, there's a cup semi coming up, there's a league to fight for, there's another cup coming up, Europe, we can try and win as many games as you think, but he's going to have to do something to try and reignite the energy in the squad, because if he continue with this pace, I know Will said the rest of the teams in Scotland are poor, but you don't know what can happen in football, because if we continue this, we're going to lose more games than we probably end up winning, because we're not playing well at all. We're not scoring as many goals. We're conceding left, right and centre when we hardly conceded last season. So something's going to have to dramatically happen, and it has to come from Gerrard and his coaching staff. But the players need to take a good look at themselves as well, because they were celebrated last season. They were shouting for the heavens about how good we were. And this season we've been back. I always say to you, even at the start of the season, I thought a lot of people thought we were better than we actually were. And I still think that's the case, but I still think we're a good enough side on our day. If we play well, we can win. But we're going to have to do something. I do think another change of the system, because the 4-3-3 or whatever he plays at times isn't working, because teams can figure us out far too easy.
I know, and Jamie, I'm seeing loads and loads of comments, and I think he has even said it himself. Look, I don't care about Europe anymore. This, that, rest of the players, focus on the league. Listen, fans have been charged an absolute fortune for these Europa League games. There is absolutely no way that we do not take these next 4 games serious.
I think that's probably the only reason why they perhaps need to and will. Listen, you go and win your next 2 games and you're right back in it again, aren't you? So it's just hard after tonight, because the league's the most important thing, whether you've paid your 100 odd quid for the 3 games or not. I think even the guys who have paid that, or a lot of people have, the league's the most important thing. So I
know, mate. Listen, I feel your pain. I really do. I'm sorry. I'm just reading this comment.
Read it out, man. Look at Nick of this.
No, do you know what? I'm not even going to give the racist apologists the airtime that they think they might deserve. Well, second half, we showed really, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, nothing at all, really. And Slavia had Slavia, Sparta had
Same arse, same cheek of the same arse, is it not?
pretty much. Do you know what? They
Yeah.
could be
Aye.
the same club because they seem to support each other, don't they?
That's another
yeah.
thing. Imagine that. Can you imagine supporting your rivals like that? Imagine it's It's just unreal.
Listen, Czech football's an absolute disgrace. I'm going to say it on here. I don't care.
is.
They should all be ashamed of themselves. And do you know what? I would rather Brøndby finish second and they get banned out of Europe for the rest of their life. I'm not going to lie. That's the way I feel about them. They're a disgrace or an embarrassment and they don't deserve to be in any European competition. But anyway, well, on the actual game, I'm not going to lie about the game. They were a much better team. And in the second half, they had a host of chances, didn't they?
Oh, they had loads. They had loads, as I said when I first came on. If that lad scores the one he hits the bar in the 47th minute, when it was easy to score, it could have been really embarrassing. I mean, they could have taken loads off us. I mean, they missed a pile of good chances. But I mean, they basically cut us open at will. But I think the longer the game went on, they were quite happy just to make sure they didn't lose anything. You know, they didn't really try and press us too much towards the end of the game, I don't think, because if they scored again, great. If they didn't, well, fine. They just didn't want to risk losing a silly goal. But I mean, what summed us up, to go back to the way we played, there was 4 minutes of stoppage time went up on the board at the end, and we were fannying about with the ball on the edge of our own box, backwards, forwards. You've just got to go for it. And if you end up getting beat 2 or 3 trying to get back in the game, then you get beat 2 or 3 trying to get back in the game. No, we made one chance in stoppage time that we probably should have scored from. And that was it. That was apart from that, we didn't really lay a glove on them. It was just we're just all over the place. And I'm trying to keep my cool here. I thought I'd calm down before I came on, but
listen, it's not nice. It's not a good feeling, even if you resigned yourself to the fact that you're not that fussed about Europe and you just want to win the league. It's still no nice.
Oh no, let me assure you, Martin. I'm very fussed about Europe. I mean, it's quite simple, as Jamie says. Win the next 2 games. And hopefully Leon do their job in the next 2 games against the racists. Then we're sitting top of the group. We get the Prague mob back to Ibrox. We beat them. That's it. Job done. Because Brøndby will already be out. That'll be our second place. Going to Leon, they'll already be through. We'll be possibly needing a point for second place. They'll be on holiday. Job will be a good one. We'll still be in the tournament, which is great. But we need to up our game because we have to beat Brøndby home and away, and that's not going to be as easy as it sounds.
That is the problem. Us up in our game because the Rangers team of last season, beats that Sparta team. I don't care what anybody says. The Rangers team of last season comfortably beats that Sparta team. But Kerr, I want to have a wee discussion about Borna Barisic. Thought he was poor tonight. I've seen a few people, and I think somebody on the pod before we started, and I can't remember who it was, said that they thought he was hiding. I don't think either of the wing backs, the full backs, the right back, the left back, whatever you want to call them these days, had a very good game. Tav never hides. Kerr, you said it. But I thought they were both quite poor tonight.
He was, and Bonner's a confidence player, and you've seen it in his first bill before I know he scored that goal against St Mirren. Folks said that was a turning him, and he scored the free kick down at St Mirren Park, and he scored, and then he came back, and after that he played really well. But Bonner's a player, he plays with confidence, and he does hide because he's scared to make mistakes, but in case he gets criticised, whereas Tav's opposite, he's willing to keep going. And I also think when Bonner's playing in there at left back, I think he misses Ryan Kent in front of him because I think Kent does so much work for him tracking back. I know folks give Kent a lot of abuse, but Ryan Kent's all over the park. And he's another one who doesn't hide, even if he's playing bad, he doesn't hide. But what you don't realise is Ryan Kent can come back and cover Bonner, and he wasn't getting a lot of cover tonight. So I don't know if that's the reason he wasn't getting up as far, or he was just playing poor. But even when you're playing poor, Martin, it doesn't matter. If you're at a club at Rangers, you don't hide, because I don't mind getting beaten a game. But it's when the players are hiding and the players you don't feel they're giving 100%, or they're maybe scared to do that or scared to do this. You don't mind coming out of a game saying, listen, we put a lot of effort in there, we were unlucky. But you could even say that for tonight, we were just really poor. And that's the problem. Borna is one of these guys who is a confidence player. He does hide at times, but who do you bring in at left back? Don't say Big Bashy, because I'll just have another cry to myself. I don't know. I just feel we're short in some areas. But I think the manager's going. I know, see somebody in the comments saying play 3 at back. It wouldn't bother me if he tried a 3 at back with 2 wing backs and play Ryan Kent as a wing back, because I think Kent could do that job. Or even switch Nathan Patterson over to the left side, because I know a few players, full backs, can play on the opposite side, because Nathan's probably good enough to play on the opposite side of what he usually plays on. But Borner's got to step up his game, but he's not the only one.
Martin, I don't think Bonner would have played tonight if we hadn't had to put Bassey centre back. I really don't.
He probably wouldn't have, Wolf.
Martin, can I answer Patrick, please? Please.
Patrick's just looking for attention.
I know, but he's wanting to put we've already said Slavia and Sparta deserve to beat Rangers. That cannot deflect away from the disgusting scenes, probably in both games. And that's what we're just talking about. That's all it is.
If somebody racially abuses you, in my view, if you get racially abused by anybody, you've got a right to defend yourself. And if they think that's an issue, then they've got the issues. No Glenn Kamara, no anybody else. Like Martin said earlier, if you're apologising for somebody racially abusing somebody, then you're the one with issues, nobody else.
Listen, 100%. Look, we're going to we'll be back tomorrow night at 7, and we'll go into a wee bit more depth about it as well. This is obviously instant reaction. But look, Graham, before we go, Europe for yourself, is it still plausible that we finish second and we qualify for this group, or that we finish third and we end up in the Conference League, which I don't think anybody really wants, but will we still be in Europe the way you feel now this time after Christmas?
I think there's definitely a chance we can. Just the 2 Bromby games are key, and I'm quite glad it's the ones we've got back to back. So I think there's a chance. I definitely don't want to finish third and go into that Conference League. I don't care what anybody says. That competition should even be a thing. We're doing work doing that. So I think there's a chance. I just need to hopefully find some form for somewhere and go into the 2 games, win them, and then is it Leon we play 5th?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, Leon's last.
No,
last.
So that's good. We've got the races then at Ibrox. Hopefully, keep them doing, and then we're through. And then happy days. Then the season looks a lot brighter.
I know. And Jacob, the Czech teams are obviously better than us at football. That goes without saying. But you're still a disgrace to humanity, and a disgrace to football, and a disgrace to human beings. So if you can sleep at night knowing that you're all right at football, but you're racist, then good on you, pal. Yeah. Look, I think that'll do as the night, guys, because I'm going to end up saying something that I'm going to regret, and I really don't want to. Look, we will be back tomorrow night at 7 p.m. for our second weekly pod. My thanks to Jamie, Kerr, Wilf, and Graham for tonight. A bit of a difficult one tonight, obviously, with the extenuating circumstances of Czech teams being and Czech fans being their usual racist selves. Disappointing result for Rangers. We didn't deserve to win. Sparta obviously deserved to win. They were the much better team. Please do like, share, and subscribe on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and please do, if you can afford that, consider signing up to us on Patreon at patreon.com/Rangers Rabble. The link is in the description. You get plenty more shows, and you help us on our way to becoming a bigger part of Rangers fan media. So listen, we're all a bit disappointed, but look, we'll come back fighting, and I still think we'll qualify for the group. But until tomorrow night, everybody take it easy, and we shall speak to you very, very soon.